Kyle Klingman with Track Wrestling. We're going to Phoenix, Arizona. 3-time All-American, 2-time NCAA championship finalist. Bryce Meredith, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much. It's hot down here in Phoenix still, which is crazy. It's starting to snow back up in Wyoming already a couple times, but it's still 105 here every day. Living good under the sun.
Well, I think when we talk about hot matches for the Hawkeye Wrestling Club Showdown Open, I think a lot of people have circled your match with Austin DeSanto. Just a lot of interest because of your style and his very aggressive style. Does this intrigue you as much as it does us?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, whether you like Austin DeSanto or dislike him, when he's out on the mat, people watch it, right? You want to see what he's going to do next. Whether it's, he lights up somebody that's really good, or, he does something crazy and, gets in a fight with a Nick Sirianni or something cool like that. But no matter what it is, you're going to watch Austin DeSanto on the mat. And, I don't know if that's completely true for me, but I think it kind of goes well with me too. I think when I get out on the mat, whether it be my crazy hair, the leg sleeve, or just my style of wrestling that's very high paced. And, I normally get in pretty cool little scrambles and wars with people. I think people like tuning into what I'm doing as well. So putting us two together, it doesn't, for just entertainment value, I think it's one of the better matches that you can put up together for sure.
And you've had those situations where a few years ago it was number one versus number one, or two different weight classes, and you guys kind of had a Twitter exchange. Talk about that and kind of being willing to go outside your comfort zone.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, just like from what I've learned, right? I never won a national title or whatever, so I can't ever say what would have happened if I would have been on the winning side of it. But I've been on the losing side a lot of those big matches, and also the winning side of most big matches. And what I've learned from them is, at the end of the day, they don't really leave you with like that much more happiness or that much more sadness if you're being stoic about the outcomes of everything. For me, the things that kind of make me the most excited and draw me to competition is just trying to leave like an impact and trying to like do things that other people aren't doing, or really just trying to make it fun, right? Like it's a game for me. This is entertainment. Obviously it's my life as well, but at the end of the day, it's still just for fun. Everything is, right? So just like getting into these types of matches, trying to get into number one versus number one matches, whatever it may be. I like throwing it out there. I like trying to do the promo. It's fun for me. So obviously DeSanto's a little bit hard because he doesn't have social media, but he's got a lot of social media followers who will come to his defense. So it's been kind of fun just even going a little bit back and forth with them. And I just enjoy that kind of stuff, because at the end of the day, man, if you're just training all day, every day, I don't love training that much, right? Like I like doing other things too. I like having fun. So all this stuff, it just kind of adds to it for me. And I start feeling like I'm like in the right place and like where I should be when these matches start happening, rather than just like only training for something. So I'm just appreciative that I still get to be in these opportunities to have these matches.
You're training for mixed martial arts, so the inevitable question is, are you ready for an actual wrestling match? Because it's two different energy systems.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I've been training more than most people in the wrestling world, especially just because the wrestling world was kind of off there for a little while. And then, so that's kind of why I went to start training MMA and stuff. And then I started enjoying it and started realizing that I'm going to need a lot of time in that field to get better at fighting, because it takes a long time to learn all mixed martial arts. But we still wrestle a couple days a week. I'm training twice a day, almost every day. And obviously I'm not like peaked. It's not like I'm training for a national tournament or whatever, but I'm in good shape. And then I still wrestle a lot, and I'm still wrestling with good guys. Like I said, I've been down here with Bubba Jenkins is down here wrestling with me. Stefan Micic, a bunch of these other guys are down here, and I've, got my hands on them. I still get to wrestle with some of the best dudes. And I'm only 2 months removed from wrestling, I guess you can say. So I'm still a wrestler. I haven't even gone in a fist fight yet. So I'm still a wrestler.
What is it you like about mixed martial arts?
I just like how it's such a blank canvas, right? So it's so blank. So for me, I think if the wrestling could stay into folk style, which, a lot of people are like, oh, freestyle is so much better, blah, 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 blah. But like, I think if the senior level wrestling was still folk style, I think I would do it until my wheels fall off, just because I enjoy wrestling folk style. I enjoy the continuous motion. I love the top bottom. I love being able to like ride people and try to break them in that aspect and stuff. And then just kind of the continuous of wrestling. And in freestyle, I just feel like I don't get it as much. Like you still get a scramble and you still get to have fun or whatever like that. But I just don't have as much fun wrestling freestyle as I do folk style. And that's kind of how it goes with fighting is even like the extreme of it, right? MMA is like you can do anything you want at any single moment pretty much. Obviously, you start on your feet and you're in a fist fight. But, you know, that you can put people into 15-minute wars. And I really enjoy that because I think folk style is like a 7-minute war where freestyle is just kind of like a game of points. And that's why it's maybe just not as much fun with me. Maybe because I'm just not as good at scoring perfect points, right? I'm more somebody that is just, I want to get into a war with people. And I think that's why this match with DeSanto is going to be super fun too, because, you know, I think we both kind of, you know, just want to get in a wrestling match with people and like kind of figure it out as it goes rather than a lot of people want to figure it out and then, you know, see how the match goes. So I think that's really interesting for the viewer.
What was it like growing up in Cheyenne, Wyoming?
Yeah, I mean, I love Wyoming. Of course, it put it was hard on me though growing up. Like sometimes I think I forget like how much I had to travel, how much money my parents had to put into me, and all this kind of stuff. Because most people, right, Wyoming only has 500,000 people in it. So you're not gonna, no matter how good they are at a sport or whatever, there's only 500,000 people. So just the numbers aren't enough to like have a lot of depth. So I was lucky enough to live very close to Colorado. If I didn't live an hour and 20 minutes from Denver, I don't know if I would have ever had my success that I did just because I needed that, you know, a little bit of that level. But then again, my parents just traveled a whole bunch. And I think kind of what it did for me is it kind of made me have to become this little mental savage on my own, right? Like I would have to like do things on my own. I would have to figure out different ways how to do it. I had a coach that was, you know, he was a round of 12 dude at Wyoming. His name is Bryce Meredith, and he was a small guy for 125. So he had to learn how to like score points on people. And I think like him showing me all that kind of allowed me to be that more creative wrestler because like we just had to figure out ways how to do it slightly differently. But ultimately Wyoming's the best. I love it. But the numbers are tough there. And it put a lot of, you know, there's a reason why I always joke, right? Bo Nickel lived in Wyoming when he was a kid, and David Taylor both lived in Wyoming as kids. And they had to move because, you know, it's hard to get the numbers that you need.
When we think of your story, man, you went to North Carolina State, and then there's another guy there named Kevin Jack, and you guys just kept meeting all the time. I mean, it's one of the great storylines in wrestling. What was that like being on that side of it, having to wrestle him, knowing it was a former teammate?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of sucked because, I mean, so a lot of people think that like I transferred because of Kevin Jack because he did so well. But if we're being really honest, I was at 133, so I wasn't that big at the time. So I thought 133 was the best weight for me. They were up at 141. There's a guy named Sam Spino there that was really, really tough. And he would beat us both, honestly, our freshman year. And then he ended up getting mono. And then that's how Kevin got pulled in. And pulled out of his red shirt and everything like that. And then when Kevin did that, then he All-Americans. So now that's kind of his spot, you know, after all that kind of stuff. But I already decided to leave North Carolina before that even happened. I just wanted to go back to Wyoming. I kind of saw that I was more happy when I was in Wyoming and everything else. And but when it came down to the matches and stuff, it just sucked, if you want me to be honest, because we were good friends. Like that was one of my best friends while I was there. And we always had to wrestle each other in big matches at the NCAA tournament. So it's like either one of us is going to the semifinals or not, or like one of us is going to that. And, you know, those are big matches. And those are some of the most important nerve-wracking matches you'll ever have is those quarterfinal matches and stuff, because the weight of I made it to the semifinals, I'm an All-American is a big weight. Even if you're trying to win, don't kid yourself. Like you still want that weight off your back, you know, that like, okay, at least I got top 6, because you know, the national tournament, you can go on the backside very easily and not have a good time. So, it kind of sucked that we always had to do that. But at the end of the day, if you look at both of us, you know, our families are friends, we're good friends, and we both were 3-time All-Americans. And because we went to different schools and everything like that. So I think, you know, I think God kind of blessed us with that opportunity, even though it kind of sucked that we always had each other in the bracket. Like it would have been more fun to have each other like in the finals or something. But even then, that would have sucked. But
If you and Kevin sat down and talked about it?
Yeah, I mean, a little bit. You know, we just kind of like it was more one of those things like let's not talk about it. Let's just be friends again and like start having a good time. You know, like after our junior year or whatever, we hung out that whole night after the NCAA tournament. So that was fun. And then like, you know, I think it was just kind of both like, damn, like why do we have to have each other so early in the tournament? Like would have rather had it, you know, at a different time. But ultimately, I mean, you know how it is. The wrestling world's tight. You're probably going to know somebody at some point.
Did growing up in Cheyenne and being in the environment you were, did it allow you to explore your progressive personality?
Yeah, I think for me, it's like, for me, I just got very fortunate with just being around a lot of different people. You know, like in Wyoming, you have your kind of hunting type people, but then I grew up and you have your farming people and your ranching people and all that kind of stuff. But I grew up in Cheyenne, which is the biggest city in Wyoming. So then I got like a little bit of like that city life in there. And then you have a little bit of Denver, and then you have all this kind of stuff. So I just felt like I got very fortunate with this idea of being very progressive towards everybody to everything. And then just like, I mean, ultimately, I just think that I've experienced a lot in my life. I don't want to say a lot more than a lot of people because that just sounds arrogant, but you know, like I snowmobile at a, you know, a high level. I snowboard at high levels. I know how to, you know, I know just a lot of things about a lot of different avenues. And I think I'm very fortunate for that, you know, whether that be because of my parents or the place that I'm from. I think it's a little bit of both. And I just, yeah, I don't know. Like, I just like all walks of life, and I'm like always down to do anything, whether it's golfing or hunting or, you know, snowmobiling or something. So it's been, Wyoming's a fun place like that because you don't have as much and the weather is really tough. So you got to learn how to work with what you have at the moment. So I think it allows you to be a little more creative with the type of fun that you're going to have.
Well, you just brought up a lot of activities that you do outside of wrestling. Do you think that those helped your wrestling?
Absolutely. So for me, right, like I freaking love wrestling. I love competing and I love everything about it. But like, if we're just gonna be honest, if I'm just only wrestling and that's the only thing I'm getting consumed by or whatever, you know, it's very easy just to be kind of come like a drone and just kind of just go through the motions and all that kind of stuff. So for me, and I got lucky that my parents saw this, like, so there's a lot of kids out there, like if they want to go snowboard or whatever, their parents are like, no way, you got wrestling, you know, like you can't get hurt. You can't do that. My parents never stopped that from me because they know I needed that, and I needed to be able to do the things that I wanted to do, like have those freedoms. So like I would be in wrestling season and I would have a big tournament be coming up, but I would still go snowboard on the weekend and do a backflip and do stupid stuff. And maybe it's not something that I should be doing, but I needed those like mental breaks for me to come out on the mat and be free when I'm out there. And I think that's kind of why I have a freedom when I'm wrestling that's a little bit different than other people, is because my identity is not only tied in just, oh, this is my wrestling. I'm only a wrestler. I think my identity is tied in a lot of different things. And every single day I try to expand my identity. I try to become a better Christian. I try to become a better brother. I try to become a better snowboarder. I try to become a better golfer. I try to become a better MMA fighter, a wrestler, whatever it is. And I think when I do that and I get to expand myself, if something bad happens or if something goes wrong or whatever, I still have so many other parts of me that can hold up the house, I guess you can say, of my heart and my soul or whatever. So then it allows me to like have that freedom and like just go out there and just like love it. Like I'm just a very in the present type moment. And, you know, like if you ask any of my teammates, like, you know, I'm just in the present, always having a good time. And I just been very fortunate to have that mind, I guess.
When you had that live in the moment philosophy and you just kind of take it as it comes, does that affect your wrestling as far as just scouting an opponent? Do you just take it as it comes and just live in the moment that way?
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to be like the guy that's like, oh, I don't care what this guy does or whatever. But for me, I don't like watching other guys wrestle that much. I think it either makes them look way worse than they are or way better than they are. So I don't like watching it. I like just focusing in on a couple of things that they're good at. Whether it be, hey, my coach, hey, tell me what he's good at. You know, oh, he's good at a fireman's, or he's good at riding legs, or he's got a really good left-handed high crotch. And then from there, I think about, okay, well, how is he going to get there? You know, and then I start thinking about it. So I scout a little bit, but I don't like watching other people wrestle because I think it just kind of messes with my nerves. And then I start thinking, okay, well, like, what if I got to do this? Then I got to do that, and I got to do that. And then it's like, okay, well, no, you got to be conscious of those things and cautious of those things, but you also just like need to find your places, where you're going to wrestle. So it's like a little bit of both, you know. I'm not that one guy who's, no, I don't ever watch anybody, but I'm also not somebody that like dives in and goes nuts on it.
Is it nice to be able to get a payday off this Hawkeye Wrestling Club Showdown Open?
Yes, man, absolutely. First and foremost, thank you, Hawkeye Wrestling Club, for calling me and allowing me to have this opportunity. You know, it's a very nice paycheck, and it's going to be an amazing event to be a part of. You know, I didn't come from a Big Ten school or an Iowa school, so like Wyoming, we have great supporters, but the numbers are way less, like I said, you know. So it's like the fact that they have over 10,000 people at their duels, and who knows how many people are going to really tune into this, but I'm assuming it's going to be a good amount. It's just, I'm always fortunate to have another camera on me, another opportunity to impact somebody or something, whatever it is, you know, and have a good time. And obviously, yeah, paychecks are always fun, especially in wrestling, right? We don't get too many money matches, right? You always have to go get your money through work or through, you know, and that's kind of what I always say. Like, we're kind of like professional wrestlers now, but most of my money, I have to go to a clinic and go get it. So it's really like a job still. It's not like, you know, so getting paid by an actual match and everything like that. I'm just very, very fortunate that they called me, and I'm super stoked.
Do you like being in the spotlight?
I do. I very much enjoy it. I just think that, so life is very easy to feel nothing, right? Most people, most of the time, you just kind of go through the motions. We kind of just float in and out. And so what I always say is, like, when life is allowing you to feel something, whether it's nerves, right? It's not like you always want the spotlight on you or like these big matches or whatever. There's a lot of moments in those times where you're like, dang, man, like, was I training hard enough? And your little insecure Bryce comes out a lot. But I say, I'm so thankful that I get to feel something. I'm so thankful that I get to feel this, right? And I think that's kind of like, maybe that's where I'm talking about with like these games and these adrenaline or whatever. Like, I think I'm just kind of like a drug addict for these adrenaline type things, these things that are good for you, know, right? Like, not actual drugs, but things that, like, oh man, I want to go hang off this cliff. I want to go whitewater rafting. I want to go do these things because I just want to feel as a human. And when I get to be in the spotlight doing something that I'm good at, and people are, you know, watching and stuff like that, it's just another opportunity for me to feel what this universe and what God has blessed me with. And I just think that's so cool.
Who are a couple people you look up to outside of wrestling?
Outside of wrestling, I mean, it kind of goes where, I mean, I honestly, I really do look up to both my parents. As I've gotten older, I've looked at a lot of other relationships that people have, a lot of other marriages, a lot of other things, how people complain a lot, how people are victims to the world, whatever it may be, right? And I just like look to my parents and I'm like, wow, my parents are so amazing. They're never like fighting. They're never like mad at each other or mad at the other political side, or, you know, they're not just like tied up in nonsense. Like, they're not victims to their life. Like, my dad's a construction worker, you know, he's a foreman and works very hard. And my mom's a teacher. And as I've gotten older, I'm like, wow, those are two very hard jobs. And I've never heard him complain one time in my life, you know, like, I've almost never even heard him on a Sunday, like, shit, I got to go to work tomorrow. Like, that sucks. So it's like, as I've gotten older, I've just been very appreciative of what they've done for me and everything like that. And then also, I'll probably throw Jordan Peterson out there. Jordan Peterson is a psychologist. He's really helped me change my mindset on certain things. And like, he tries to teach you to take on more responsibility and not be, you know what I mean? Like, kind of like bear your cross, right? Like, put on your responsibility hat. The world is super hard, and there's nothing I'm going to tell you here, which aligns very much with Christianity and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, life's not easy. And no matter what you do and what you think you're going to do, no matter what drug or what religion or whatever you're going to pick, life is very hard. And so what are you going to do to combat that? And I think it's like, you're going to bear more responsibility and you're going to try to act in virtue through those things. And I think anybody that tries to live those things out, I look up to, because it's very easy for me to sit here and tell you I'm a virtuous man and I act, and I'm going to try to act correctly and I'm going to do this, but we all fall short often, right? I was going to get up at 8:30 and train, and then I end up waking up at 9:30. Like, just the little stupid things that we are as humans, right? So it's like, for me, I just want to try to become a better person every single day and expand who I am, and have people look at me and be just be proud of like who I am ultimately.
That man right there is Bryce Meredith. You get to watch him at the Hawkeye Wrestling Club Showdown Open November 1, one of the anticipated matches. Appreciate this time.